feel like physically, you feel it pretty certain physically, like that's not a thing that's like causing some of those habits? Like, people obviously jump to like age and say, oh, physically things start happening, and that causes some of this. I mean, like, I'm sure that's not the first time that's been mentioned. Or that
you're gonna hurt my feelings. Don't worry.
Yeah. So where do you fall on that? Like, how do you assess that?
I mean, to say that when I'm 37 now, that you're gonna, be the same as when you're 27. I mean, that's just not the truth. But you can still perform at that age or at my age, and we've seen guys do it. And I think, I'm confident that that's not holding me back, but it's part of what goes on in your career as you get older. You've got to make adjustments and you've got to adapt. And even I remember being younger and just always thinking about wanting to play for a long time and starting to try to look ahead, take care of my body. Back then, I think now's the same way. And there's some things maybe you got to do differently. Like I said, you got to adapt, but there's definitely ways that you can still perform. I hope that answers that question. It's holding me back as much as any age does, but I think, you try to get ahead of it as best you can. Just because you get older doesn't mean you can't play. It just means, like I said, you got to do some things differently. And, it's not, some things is not the same as when you're 23, 24, 25. I mean, gosh, some of these guys are 20, 19, 21. So, but there's some advantages of having been through it as well. So it's not all negative, but on that physical side, because you asked, you've got to do things differently. I can't lift and run and prepare the exact same way. You just can't get away with as much as it's not just like being my age now, 37. I mean, it starts to happen earlier in your career, and so it's something that you're aware of. And so I think there's adjustments that can help that and still perform. But if I'm given the opportunity, then I'll get a chance to prove whether that's right.
And it sounds like you've made some of those adjustments as you've gone along as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I really think that's helped me. I mean, my 6 years here, I started out when I was 31 or 32, and still was able to have some really good years. This year was not. I didn't feel like I didn't play well because I was older. I mean, or as bad as I played. So we'll see. It's not like you just get a certain age and just forget everything, I think. But you understand there's, your body's, aging, and you just try to make different adjustments. I think the biggest one I was making was probably in the 2020 season. Kind of changed, how I was lifting and training, and not like it's not huge, but you're just adapting and. It really paid dividends. Some of my two best years of my career were 21 and 22. 20 was such a shortened year, but still was able to play really well then. And even last year it wasn't as good as some of those years, but it was still a very productive year. And I think I'm still capable of that, but you got to go out and prove it. I mean, every athlete's out there very confident, and so. I've never taken anything for granted. I always feel like you got to go out there and perform every year, and that mindset hasn't changed even after great or bad years, and so that'll be my mindset going into next year.